Hey there everyone, welcome back to the guide. Next up in the series, we'll be collecting all of the blue coins in Noki Bay. Alright, it's time to take on the final challenge here in Noki Bay. We've completed everything else on this stage, and now we get to sort of finish it off by collecting these blue coins. Unfortunately, collecting blue coins in Noki Bay can be pretty challenging, and I think the reason I believe that is probably because a big chunk of these blue coins are sort of collected in all of these cliff faces that are sort of scattered throughout this stage. And if you're just looking at screenshots, and you're looking at a screenshot of a blue coin in some little crevice on a cliff face somewhere, it's like where is that? You know, it's like there's not enough information. So if there's going to be any video in my series that you should be prepared to watch over and sort of scrub the timeline and figure out where I actually am in the level, it's probably going to be this one. So anyway, no shame in that. And we'll go ahead and get started here. There was those two blue coins just off in the water. Those are kind of funny. If you're playing on an earlier episode where the water is poisoned, those are kind of challenging to get, because you usually want to use one of the little boats that you can sort of move around with flood. But if you just wait until the later episodes, I almost said episode 8, but it could just be any of the later episodes where the water is clean, you can just kind of swim out there and collect them. In any case, we've sort of shot ourselves up to the top of the cliff there, and I'm going to go ahead and hop down right here. And this is sort of the going theme of collecting blue coins in Noki Bay. You're just kind of like spraying random surfaces, and then you'll find out that, oh hey, there's like a weird little recessed area that appears here by spraying that. So as you can see, I'm sort of hopping down and hovering back into these little nooks. And yes, like I said, you might want to spray the walls while you're there, because some blue coins will most certainly appear. By hovering over here, you kind of see this, it's almost like a 3x3 grid, and there's actually 2 coins for us to collect here in the bottom left-hand corner and top right-hand corner. Spray those little tan tiles there, and more little crannies will appear before our very eyes with blue coins in them. I'm going to kind of go off to the left here a little bit. See that next little ledge down there? Just going to hop right on down there. And again, yes, more hidden crannies for us to reveal by spraying the walls. By the end of this video, you'll probably have gathered that I like to reach these sort of ledges by just jumping down from somewhere high up. A lot of these, not all of them, but some of them have hidden like underground pathways that lead to them. And you can most certainly, memorize how that whole crazy network of underground pathways, you can learn it and memorize it, but it's just too much for me. So what I usually do is I just go up as high as I need to, and then just jump down, and then, hover back into these little ledges. I guess what I'm saying there is this may not be the fastest way to get around this area, because maybe there may very well be just a hidden path that leads right to where I'm going, but it's definitely the easiest to understand. Just go up to the top and go down, or jump down. That cliff is unbelievably loud, but it is unfortunately necessary because we need to be able to wall jump to a couple of locations here. One is going to be a sort of hidden entrance to that spot right there, sort of hidden away in that section of the wall that would be hidden if the cliff had reset. That's another one right there. That little cranny is pretty much visible from anywhere in the map, but how you actually reach it is a mystery until you kind of push that cliff back, and then you can reach the entrance like the previous one. And luckily at this point we can sort of breathe a sigh of relief, because we're kind of done with that left-hand cliff section. We still got more stuff to do over here, but for whatever reason, in my mind, this is just a little bit easier to wrap my head around. The previous section is just kind of insane, especially with all those little tiny spots that sort of appear when you spray them with water. It's so easy to miss one, to think you're done with that area, when in reality there's literally a blue coin stuck on a wall somewhere that you didn't get. Ugh. Anyway, we had to hop out over open nothingness and sort of hover back in there, but other than that, nothing too crazy yet. We'll be coming on over here, and it looks like we got our first M graffiti here on the wall in Noki Bay. I said the first M graffiti like I know that there's multiple M graffitis. I'm actually not sure, so that was the first of an unknown quantity of M graffitis here in Noki Bay. Revealing another little wall kick section for us to play around in here. there's going to be a blue coin directly above us. We're actually going to have to like jump out of this section and then hover back into where the blue coin is. But poor past me, man, struggling to get Mario to grab that ledge. I'm not really sure what that was about. And then I kept accidentally doing those side somersaults, which stops you from doing any wall kicks. That was funny, actually. But anyway, we got it done. We were able to jump out and hover back into that little cranny right there, where that blue coin was. And I actually feel kind of lucky that I was able to do that first try. That jump is actually hard. It's like deceptively difficult, harder than it looks. Just being able to jump out with enough height without bonking your head on the ceiling as you kind of jump out, it's tough. Like, it's harder than you think. Anyway, past me is kind of waiting for this whole section over here to reset. Because if you sit here and spray this tan tile, and there's still walls that kind of aren't fully reset, if they're not, you know, in their home position, if you will, it just sort of ignores you. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this wall kick section again. Apparently, this is like the hardest thing in the game for me right now. Which is funny because you don't even really need to do it. I think I mentioned this in the Gooper Blooper fight video. The surface that I'm on right now, you can actually jump to that. If you like do a spin jump and a wall kick and then hover, it's kind of a lot, but you can actually skip up to that spot and then you don't have to do that tall wall kick bit back there. Anyway, this is where we fought the Gooper Blooper recycled boss fight. And we actually get to come into this area again where there are these jars or urns. They're sort of stuck in the wall here. As you can see, past me was really struggling to get that to spawn. And I find that funny, but I think it's funny to me because it's actually quite frustrating. It's probably one of the top things that frustrates me about Super Mario Sunshine. I love this game. I love this game to death, don't get me wrong, but when they hide a blue coin in a ridiculous spot like that, and then for whatever reason it just doesn't want to spawn when you do what they wanted you to do, like you're sitting there spraying it and nothing's happening, but if you like take a step over to the left and then spray it, then it spawns. It's ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I think the reason that frustrates me is because I could imagine maybe a younger me going in there, spraying the jar for a split second and seeing nothing, and then mentally I'm like, okay, cool, there's no blue coins in here, and then leaving and never coming back, right? Anyway, deep breaths. Stop ranting in the video, Hasky. Moving on. Looks like we were able to collect that one blue coin clear down there at the bottom of that little gold coin spiral that we looked at in the 100 coin video. And we will slowly ascend back to the surface. It's actually kind of crazy how deep we had to go for that blue coin. I do believe having the scuba diving helmet does change how long you can stay underwater before breathing or finding coins or whatever. I guess I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm basically positive. It's like a definite maybe that it does that. But anyway, before anyone fact checks me on that, let's go ahead and head up on the sort of right side cliffs over here. Got quite a bit of work to do over here. I'm going to start by standing on this little elevator and sort of spraying all the way over here. There's a lot of like hidden walls that move when you spray over there, so I'm just going to kind of get that done beforehand. Sort of a challenging part about this section is you'll kind of be climbing around and it'll kind of look like you're at a dead end, but what you need to do is sort of spray another section and half the whole cliff will just move all of a sudden and you sort of realize that there's more places to go than you originally thought. It's kind of funny. Past me definitely has a feeling that there's more hidden walls there. But I pretty much sprayed everything I could think of and I started to move on and then I hopped over here and I'm like, wait, there's nowhere to go. So I hopped back over here and tried again, and yes, okay, there was apparently stuff I missed. But yeah, after spraying everything in existence, you should hopefully be able to crawl on over here and collect this blue coin. That one's pretty crazy. A lot of really well-hidden blue coins here in Noki Bay. Hidden inside the walls, man. And there's a pretty funny part coming up right here. I think this is it. So apparently, and I had no idea until this very clip, this very recording, I'm shimmying along, and there's like these spots where you can climb up and sort of stand there for a second. And up until this recording, I had absolutely no idea why you would want to do that. And then this happens. And then I fell. Like Mario started shaking there and he fell. And I was like, what kind of bug was that? What just happened? Buggy game. So I did a little jump cut there for you because I had to climb all the way back up, right? So we don't need to see that. But I'm going to probably do another jump cut here because I think this happens at least one more time. Because, again, I just don't know what's happening. And I haven't explained it yet. It's just I get so much a kick out of this. This whole sequence of events. I think it's going to be kind of funny to watch me figure this out. But did I stop and rest? No, I did not. I did not stop and rest. So I'm going to keep on going. And I'm like, please don't bug out. And it happens again. So if you didn't know, and I didn't, apparently you can only hang off of a ledge for so long until Mario gets tired and just falls. I had no idea. It was blowing my mind. So what you're supposed to do there is as you're shimmying across, you're supposed to stop at one of those little nooks and take a break. Like you're supposed to let Mario's arms rest, and then you can continue on. I love it. I mean, it's a silly mechanic, but I think it's funny. What is this, Breath of the Wild? Come on. So anyway, what I decided to do was just go all the way up to the top, drop down, and then hover into the spot that I was trying to go to. I was like, I'm not using that buggy cliff anymore. Forget it. And I was able to get around it. But yeah, I didn't read up on that until after I recorded this bit, which is pretty funny to me. So yeah, anyway, you can certainly do what I did just there and just drop it down and hover. You have to hover at like the exact right moment in order to get inside. But if that's not something you want to do, or if you're trying that and you're struggling with it, all you got to do is when you're shimmying across, make sure to stop and hop into one of those little spots. They're just barely large enough for you to stand in, but that will allow you to shimmy the rest of the way. So pretty funny stuff. Gotta let Mario take a break, man. He's working hard. He's working hard out here. Unfortunately, we're pretty much going to have to do that exact thing again. Not shimmying across the cliff, but jumping out off of the cliff in order to reach another little cranny. So we're going to be running right back up to where I jumped off before, and this time we're going to be going for that opening right there. I probably could have done these two, one after the other, but me solving that previous problem was sort of impromptu. That was not planned. In any case, we'll be dropping down to the lower area of Noki Bay now. Yes, there are blue coins down here. So you'll need to choose one of the shines that gives you access to this area. And if nothing else, these blue coins are pretty easy to understand, which is kind of nice. All four of them, there are 4 blue coins, and all 4 of them are up on top of these really tall pillars, the ones that go almost all the way to the ceiling, but not quite. But I do also think it's worth knowing that there are 4 in here, because I could imagine it being pretty painful if you collect just 2 or 3 and you think you're done, and you go, all right, I never have to come here ever again, when in reality there's some blue coins that are left. So the gold coins are really easy to see from far away, but the blue coins, since they sort of match the fog color down here, you kind of have to get pretty close before you can actually, be certain that there's a blue coin there. So I guess that's all to say, be thorough down here. You don't want to have to come back and check again. You want to be sure that you got them all when you leave. And in any case, I think that's going to be it for episode 8. I didn't do my usual spiel where I say that I start the blue coin gathering videos on episode 8 because you can collect the grand majority of them on 8. But now that we've collected everything that we can collect in episode 8, we're going to be moving on to episode 6 now. And one of the big things that we're going to be looking for now that we've selected this specific episode is some graffiti symbols, some of the linked circle symbols. You can actually see them both on screen right there if you caught it. But yes, if I remember correctly, this is the only episode where you see these symbols. So if you didn't grab them when you were here on episode 6, I'm not sure how you were ever going to find them. Unless you were unbelievably thorough by checking every area of every episode, which you've already heard me say is a little bit insane. Another thing you may have heard me say in the series is that I try to accomplish everything with the hover nozzle, just because I don't like going and finding the other nozzles when I can avoid it. And this is kind of an example of that. Basically, I think the intended way to do these 2 symbols is to grab the turbo nozzle and just, speed over there. Because, of course, if you need a refresher, these blue coins, when they spawn, they expire after a specific amount of time. And as you can see, I was just barely able to reach that one. And I think the only reason I was able to do it is by giving myself a bit of a head start by starting up on top of that shell. It gave me a little bit of extra hover time, which got me a little bit further than I would have if I had just started on the ground. Same thing here. I'm kind of standing on this hut because I know I can just go a little bit faster by hovering a little bit further because I'm a little bit higher off the ground. Again, if you're struggling with this, if this just isn't working for you, go ahead and by all means do it the intended way by using the turbo nozzle. Again, I'm just lazy and I don't want to go find the turbo nozzle. I'm not even sure if I know where the turbo nozzle is on this stage. Anyway, moving past that, we got him, so we're good. In any case, I believe we are down to the final 3 blue coins, if I am correct. The first 2 are going to be over here on the right side cliffs, up there. And then the final coin is actually going to be on the left side, and we're going to need the hover nozzle for it, which is over here. So, unfortunately, I have not figured out how to collect this final coin without the hover nozzle, so we'll just go ahead and we'll do what the game wants. All right, game, have it your way. We'll get the hover nozzle. We'll get a different nozzle. Fine. Anyway, joking aside, coming over here, we got some platforms that we've never seen before. This is our first visit all the way over here, all the way up here. We're way off to the side now. Doing some fancy side somersaults into hovers and all that, whatever you need to do in order to get up here. And this is just filthy. This is nasty over here. So make sure to collect this blue coin first, okay? Get that one first. And then you can hop up here and grab this one, and you'll see why. When you collect that blue coin, it knocks you off the ledge, which is that's terrible. Because if you if you try to grab that lower one first, you now have to climb all the way back up there to get that second blue coin. So man, absolutely vicious. But since we collected those in the correct order, and we got the hover nozzle before getting knocked off, we'll be able to come over here and collect this final coin. It's the final coin, right? Yeah, it is. I wasn't sure there for a second. So I'm kind of taking a bit of a shortcut. I mean, why not? We have the hover nozzle. So we'll be able to skip our way up here without messing around with all that nasty cliff stuff on the left-hand side. And then there it is. But yes, it looks like you do need to sort of time the rocket jump with a normal jump, if you will. You kind of need to make the rocket jump start at the top of Mario's jump in order to just barely get enough height to actually reach that little cranny up there. So, oh man, that was it. That was the last blue coin. We got all the blue coins in Noki Bay. We're done with this level. What a level, man. I'm kind of glad it's over, though. In any case, that was it for Noki Bay. Coming up next is going to be Pianta Village. That's going to be our last final stage, and we'll be kind of beginning the final stretch of our series here. So in any case, that's how I collect all of the blue coins in Noki Bay. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.